Hello, I'm Kimberly Acosta. Welcome to this edition of the Native News Update on Friday, January 8th. Many of the stories you hear here can be found at our website, IndianCountryNews.com, or you can check out IndianCountryTV.com. And here's the news for the day from the Associated Press and other Native news sources. The nation's first Native American bishop passed away January 7th at a Florida hospital from an undisclosed illness, according to the Roman Catholic Diocese of Gallup, New Mexico. Donald Pilat served for 18 years as a bishop of the diocese that covered northwestern New Mexico and northeastern Arizona. Pilat and Abenaki became the first Native American bishop in 1990. He was known for his work to build a Catholic church in Native American communities across the country, developing training programs for deacons and lay ministers who were tribal members. A vigil prayer service will be at 7 p.m. January 13th at the Sacred Heart Cathedral in Gallup, New Mexico, and funeral mass will be on January 14th. Police are investigating the deaths of two men whose bodies were found in a Tempe, Arizona apartment. Tempe Police Department spokesman Scott Smith said officers were called to the apartment the night of January 7th for a welfare check and discovered the bodies of two Native American men. Smith says there were signs of a struggle, but it's unclear how the men died. Officers are reportedly waiting for a search warrant to investigate further. A human skull that apparently was turned into a ballot box for Yale's mysterious Skull and Bone Society is going on the auction block. Christie's estimates the skull will sell for $10,000 to $20,000 when it is auctioned on January 22nd. Fittingly, the auction house has agreed to keep the seller's name a secret. The skull is fitted with a hinged flap and is believed to have been used during the voting of the famous society meetings. The skull is believed to have also been owned by Edward T. Owen, who graduated from Yale in 1872. In February of 2009, descendants of Geronimo's filed a lawsuit against Skull and Bones, claiming that its members stole the remains of the Apache leader decades ago and have kept them ever since. According to the lore, members of the Skull and Bones, including former President George W. Bush's grandfather, Preston Bush, dug up Geronimo's grave when a group of Army volunteers from Yale were stationed at the fort during World War I, taking his skull and some of his bones. The wild bison, which live in Yellowstone National Park, are currently in quarantine to stop them being a part of a regular cull carried out to stop the spread of the disease brucellosis to cattle. The quarantine animals are part of a plan to see if a brucellosis-free herd can be created to help repopulate America's West with bison. Turner, who owns an estimated 50,000 bison, has offered to take the animals on his nearby ranch at the request of Brian Schweitzer, the Democratic governor of the state of Montana. As compensation, he would keep 90% of the animal's offspring, meaning he could gain as many as 190 bison from the herd, prized for its genetic purity. Montana turned to Turner after attempts to house the bison on Indian reservations in Montana and Wyoming could not be arranged quickly enough. Turner has long been a conservation champion and advocate for bison, but his representatives insist he cannot take the animals without some compensation. However, conservationists and federal officials, plus a group representing a dozen Native American tribes, are critical of the plan. AN Group, LLC, a Native American-owned firm and a recent entry in the exploding field of the media property rights acquisitions, has acquired the rights to the Rook and have announced its intent to bring this classic time-traveling hero from the pages of comics and print to television, film, and gaming. The Rook, also known as Reston Dane, is a descendant of the time-traveling scientist from H.G. Wells' classic novel, The Time Machine. The Master of Time finds himself alongside iconic figures of history and legend when his exploits take him from the eras of long-lost lore to the fantastic and infinite possibilities of futures yet to unfold. Time traveler, chess master, and man of science, romance, and courage, the Rook fights to right history's wrongs while exploring his own fascinating historical roots and saving those he loves from the ravages of time. As if famed guitarist Stevie Salas isn't busy enough, he's got another project on his plate. Solace and fellow Carlsbad resident Lawrence D'Orazio has formed a new company called Rockstar Solos, which has just released its latest musical app for the iPhone. Rockstar Solos' new app brings actual rockstar riffs to your fingertips as you rock your way from easier one-star solos up to the difficult five-star challenges. You'll be walked through various modes such as memory modes, repeated patterns, and more. For more information on the company and their products, you can check out rockstarsolos.com. And that's the latest roundup of news from Indian Country on this edition of the Native News Update. I'd like to thank you for joining me, and have a grand day.